Live on YouTube, live on Rumble. Good afternoon, welcome to This Day in History, aka TDH. I'm Xander, you viewer, you. Thank you so much for coming in and watching us. We will be joined by the Golden Loon here shortly. Today is, of course, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2026. Tears' Day, aka Tuesday, of course. This show is about interesting and important occurrences that happened today throughout the annals of recorded history. Starting with the year 45 BC, in his last victory, Julius Caesar defeated the Pompeian forces of Titus Labienus and Pompey the Younger in the Battle of Munda. Moving on up to 180 AD, Roman Emperor Marcellus Aurelius died, leaving his son Commodus, age 18, as sole emperor. Other source says Commodus became sole emperor of the Roman Empire at the age of 18, following the death of his father, Marcus Aurelius. It is too hot to be wearing this. I'd like to, but it is 96 degrees right now and sunny. So, and yeah, I don't really have much in the way of blinds, and the sun is bouncing right off the stark white walls of my next door neighbor. So I get sun in this window all day long, one way or another. 432, St. Patrick. Oh, I have to put this back on for this one. Yeah, it is warm though. St. Patrick, aged about 16, was captured by Irish pirates from his home in Great Britain and taken as a slave to Ireland. And this is the traditional date. And I'm going to be putting this on quite often throughout the show because we have a couple St. Patrick's Day articles here. 455, Roman Senator Petronius Maximus proclaimed emperor. It says here, from the other source, Petronius Maximus became, with support of the Roman Senate, emperor of the Western Roman Empire. He forced Licinia Eudoxia, the widow of his predecessor, Valentinian III, to marry him. Yikes. By 1190, Crusades completed the massacre of Jews in York, England. I don't know what the Crusades have to do with York and England and such. We did talk, though, about a pogrom, this very same one, yesterday, and I think maybe the day before, I'm not sure. 1337, in the year of Leet, Edward the Black Prince was made Duke of Cornwall, the first duchy made in England. All right. Half a millennia ago, 5 centuries ago, 1526, French King Francis I was freed from Spain. Then 1537, French troops invaded Flanders. What did he do? Ned Flanders? Like, did they get tired of the hi diddly ho neighborino crap? It's just like, that's it, we're gonna burn you down. 1600, the first recorded St. Patrick's Day celebration in the in America, because this is well before the United States, was held in St. Augustine in Spanish Florida, with the first parade taking place in the same location in 1601. Both were organized by Catholic Irish Vicar Ricardo Artur. This was added to the primary source. So, one of the few examples of additions. 1737, Charitable Irish Society of Boston organized the first observance of St. Patrick's Day. I'm not going to put that on anymore. It is too hot. In the 13 colonies, it's telling me to image search this, though, so I will do that. I can do that. And hold on a second. Oh, yeah, this is St. Patrick when he was at the age of 16 being abducted. Or whatever. It looks like somebody over here is getting killed in one way. There's a sword. So, and what else do we get here? Let's see. Look this article up. Image search it. Bigger this. Yeah, here we go. St. Patrick's Day, or St. Patrick's Day, is observed on March 17th every year on the death of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. The event has evolved into a celebration of Irish culture, complete with parades, music, dancing, drinking, and plenty of green. And I'm not, you can see my green shirt. I'm wearing my normal, camo pants. So, like, I'm literally, with this on, I'm literally head to toe in green. So, or I can wear this one if I wanted to. Be a little bit more, like, traditional or something. So, I don't know. Anyway, we also have, we got that one. And I haven't been playing, that's the wrong one. No. I have been playing the music, okay. I'm going to be playing that again, though, later. Yeah, you'll understand why. 1756, St. Patrick's Day was first celebrated in New York City at the Crown and Thistle Tavern. All right.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. You have missed a substantial amount, I'm sorry to say.
Oh, that's too bad.
The capture of St. Patrick and all that stuff.
Oh.
What's his name? Julius Caesar's last victory.
I'll have to go back and get caught up after the show.
Yeah, it's a shame that you weren't here, but we gotta keep going.
Yep.
1775, Transylvania Land Company, headed by Richard Henderson, bought most of Kentucky through a treaty signed with Cherokee chiefs at Sycamore Shoals on the Watauga River. It was later declared illegal. Of course it was, because the United States didn't want to have to deal with having to pay that guy or whatever. They wanted to just rob it from the natives.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, it says here, in this valley, March 17, 1775, the Transylvania Company, led by Richard, basically like what I just said. Over 20 million acres were sold for 2,000 pounds sterling, silver probably, and goods worth 8,000 pounds.
Well, 2,000 pounds sterling is money.
Yeah.
That's the British pound.
Okay.
Pound sterling.
Okay. Well, then, did they reinstate what he traded? Like, if they declared it illegal?
I don't know.
1776, British forces evacuated Boston to Nova Scotia during the Revolutionary War. So this was ending the siege of Boston after George Washington and Henry Knox placed artillery in positions overlooking the city. So they knew they were going to get annihilated, so they're just like, nah, you know what? We're done. 1778, Britain declared war on France due to French alliance with the U.S. We covered that a couple days ago. When France, for whatever reason, decided to... Which, by the way, do you want to put this on really quick and we can, be festive for half a second? So, I'm not sure if that fits you. Do you want to trade? Here, let's see if this one works better.
It's bad.
Okay, either way, you can't be helped.
You got a pinhead.
I just have a small, a small cranium, but it's very full. It's a very full small cranium. So.
I won't tell you what it's full of.
Oh shit, of course. So. 1800, British warship HMS Queen Charlotte caught fire off the Tuscan archipelago. 700 people died. Yikes. I wonder if it spread to other ships or something, or if they had 700 people. I mean, I know they have quite a lot of people on those ships back in those days, but those weren't very big.
Yeah, 700 people is a lot of people.
It sounds like a little bit much for one ship. 1805, the Italian Republic, with Napoleon as president, became the Kingdom of Italy. Became the Kingdom of Italy, with Napoleon as the King of Italy. So, yeah, here we go. It looks like I might have skipped over that golfer there. Maybe, I'm not sure. But this showcases what it looked like at the time. And I think we're going to be talking about Italian unification, actually, interestingly enough. 1824, Britain and the Netherlands signed a trade agreement. The Anglo-Dutch Treaty was signed in London, dividing the Malay archipelago. As a result, the Malay Peninsula was dominated by the British, while Sumatra and Java and surrounding areas were dominated by the Dutch. All right. 1829, final performance of famous clown Joseph Grimaldi at a benefit performance at Sadler's Wells, London. All right. 1833, Phoenix Society formed in New York. What is the Phoenix Society? Like, is it something that rose from the ashes of a previous society?
Yeah, well.
It was a mutual aid society for black stadiums and education. Quote, an organization dedicated to morals, literature, and the mechanical arts. End quote. It was founded in 1833 by Samuel Cornish, Theodore Wright, Peter Williams Jr., and Christopher Rush of New York City. They had support from the philanthropist brothers Arthur and Louis Tappan. Many people associated with the Phoenix Society attended and the New York Mansummission Society's African Free School in New York City. All right, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, getting out of that is a good deal. I like it.
Phoenix Society. All right, if you want to check more of this out, that link that I just put there, that's going to be in the underbar of the description after the live stream. 1842, speaking of live streams, though, do we have any comments? Nothing on Rumble, and anything on YouTube? Nope. 1842, the Treaty of 1842, Wyandot Huron Indian Nation ceded 114,000 acres of land in Ohio and Michigan to the United States in exchange for 148,000 acres west of the Mississippi. All right, well, it's telling me to... So they got more acres out of it, but probably less quality. Most likely less quality.
I wonder if that's still government land that they traded for. Or did they
not entirely sure.
Sell it away?
Well, it says here, copper deposits were reported along the shores of Lake Superior and northern boundary of Wisconsin as Indians ceded the land and mining of copper boomed in this area. So it was a trade to legally take...
Minerals.
Yeah, well, copper, all that stuff. But this one has, this is a map here. I'm not entirely sure how to read this yet, and I don't have the time to study it to figure it out. But let me bigger this if I can. So anybody, you can freeze frame this, study it, and let us know your findings to answer his question. What was your question again? Like,
I just wonder if the government still had hold of that land that it traded for.
Oh yeah, is it still like mining? Is it like just barren? Has there been housing developments? Like, what are your findings out there, audience? Please let us know in the comments. 1842, the Female Relief Society of Nauvoo was formally organized with Emma Smith as president. Okay. 3 years later, Bristol man Henry Jones patented self-raising flour. Okay.
Self-raising flowers.
Flour, like
flour.
Bread,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah,
so you
baking.
didn't have to knead it.
Oh, okay. 1845 as well, the rubber band was patented by Stephen Perry of London. It's telling me to image search this, but before I do, that's what this song was here that I accidentally started playing. You might recognize this music from Looney Tunes. You remember like that?
I think so.
Like it was like in an episode of Tom and Jerry when like the ants were climbing or something, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna add this song there.
I want to see a picture of a rubber band.
Yeah, you will.
You promised me to deliver.
Yeah, I will. I'm getting there, you impatient old person. Here you go. Here's a rubber band ball. But it says here, Stephen Perry received a patent for the first rubber band on March 17th, 1845. He invented it to hold papers and envelopes together. He referred to his invention as elastic bands. They gained instant popularity with the public, and Perry later opened the United Kingdom's first factory for rubber bands.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. And now we have rubber band balls. I had one of these at one point. I don't know what happened to it. So yeah. 1854, the first parkland purchased by a U.S. city was in Worcester, Massachusetts. So the city purchased some parkland for some greenery. What were you going to say?
No.
Okay. 1860, 6 years after the forcible ending of Japan's isolationist policy by U.S. Navy Commodore Matthew C. Perry, the Japanese embassy arrived in San Francisco to sign a treaty of friendship. So it sounds like we drugged them into the war rather than letting them continue to be. I thought they chose to stop being isolationist. I don't know. 1860 as well, the first Taranaki War began in Taranaki, New Zealand, a major phase of the New Zealand Wars. Huh. So multiple wars, a whole bunch of stuff. Of that. Yeah, well, New Zealand is.
You don't think of New Zealand as being a warring country down there.
I'm going to say this. I think New Zealand is one of the only countries outside of Africa that people pay the least attention to. It sometimes doesn't even show up on maps.
I think Africa gets paid to some degree.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about just New Zealand. There's nothing major about it. Like the only thing that comes to mind is that's where they shot movies for Lord of the Rings and whatnot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, beautiful scenery, wonderful, spectacular. They even still have the set of the Shire there, and you can go there and tour it, and all that stuff. But
the only thing I know about them is, and I've seen it on TV only,
Kiwis?
is they have flat boats that just rip down their legs and do crazy things on them.
In New Zealand?
Yeah.
I have to look at that. But yeah, no, this was a major, time for New Zealand. So there's a lot of history out there, even in things that you don't really pay attention to. 1961, I was right. We are talking about Italy some more. It was unified into a single kingdom under Victor Emmanuel II, following the campaigns led by Giuseppe Garibaldi.
Giuseppe,
but yeah, the kingdom of Italy was proclaimed. It's telling me to image search this, so I'm going to do that really quick. But yeah, Italy was actually unified twice. First, when Rome conquered their neighbors and all that stuff, and we know a lot about that. But then it had to, after the dissolving of the Roman Empire, the West fell first, and that's Rome itself and everything. Yeah. And for a time, even the Pope wasn't there. I think he got chased out and all that stuff, and that's where all the tie-ins with the Swiss Guard are, connected with. But between that and in more modern times, somebody reunified Italy because by World War II, well, before World War II, Italy fought in World War I believe, but World War II, Benito Mussolini and all that stuff, he didn't unify Italy. So that's what that image actually was about. I had this earlier, showcased all the different countries did. And we spoke about the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, Sicily itself, and then Naples. So, we covered that a week or so ago or something like that. 1862, the first railway line of Finland between the cities of Helsinki and Hammanelia, called Parata, was officially opened. And this was removed from primary source for some reason. 1868, the postage stamp canceling machine patent was issued. All right. 1871, National Association of Professional Baseball Players was organized. Yeah. And that's interesting. It was hyphenated, baseball. You see that?
Is weird. Yeah, that's a typo.
Maybe. But maybe that's what it was called back then. Like words evolve, they change, Like,
yeah.
There's an F word that's a derogatory term for homosexuals, and like the N word itself derives from the Spanish word negro, which means black.
Yeah.
So, and what else? The F word has a very, very wide usage. So.
What was it derived from?
Frickin', which is German to strike, actually. And I know that because there's a video out there, the history of the F word. They actually tell you about that. History of the F word. Yeah, there it is. So, but yeah, no, like that's where I learned that from. It comes from frickin', which means to strike or something, German word. So, anyway, 1876, General Crook destroyed Cheyennes and Oglala Sioux Indian camps. That's not nice. 1 year after that, Australia's English-born all-rounder Billy Midwinter completed Test cricket's first 5-wicket haul, 5-78 in the first ever Test match versus England in Melbourne. I had to. 1884. For those who do not know, he absolutely hates cricket, and I agree with him. But it fills me with so much joy to torture him with cricket. Like
it's that not that I don't hate it. I just have no idea what it's about.
Neither do I, but it sounds interesting, it sounds important, and at the same time it annoys you, so it's like, 3 birds, 1 stone.
A couple, 3 weeks ago, I had the ultimate. A buddy of mine came up to me at the gym and says, "Hey, do you know anything about cricket?" Oh, man, no, I don't.
What an interesting question to ask.
Yeah, he had seen something. He didn't know anything about cricket.
That's weird. Well, you should have told him that, hey, there's wickets, there's centuries.
There's bouncing the ball
there's
up
bowling.
To the plate, I don't know.
There's flat bats.
And flat bats.
There's tests. I'm not sure what tests are.
Well, if you don't know, you don't know.
Well, I mean, I have I at least I have the concrete mixture. I don't have the foundation yet, but I'm getting there. Not that I'm trying to. 1884, John Joseph Montgomery made the first glider flight at Otay, California. All right.
Glider.
Yeah. 1886, the Carlton Massacre in Mississippi. 20 African Americans were killed. And that makes me wonder how many of them were white, like Elon Musk, because he's African American. I know that they're talking about blacks. I'm just really trying to stress, how ridiculous the term African Americans to refer to as blacks is. Just call them blacks. What's the problem in that? We call ourselves whites, why not? We can call them Africans, but once again, Elon is African. He's whiter than chalk. So if you really want, if your mission truly is to divide people based off of skin color, that's why I'm always saying, just call us all human, call us all U.S. citizens. But if you really want to divide them based off skin color, then call them by the color that they are. I find that personally, problematic and troublesome. But if you liberals out there are really that focused on skin color, then just use the actual correct words. That's all I'm saying. 1891, British steamer Utopia sunk off Gibraltar, killing 574. Other source says SS Utopia collided with HMS Anson in the Bay of Gibraltar and sunk, killing 562 of the 880 passengers on board. So we have a 12-passenger discrepancy of deaths.
So Utopia wasn't a great name for this thing.
Well, I mean, they went there.
Maybe.
So, well, 562 to 574 of them. Well, probably not all of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Some of them sunk and then kept going. 1894, U.S. and China signed a treaty preventing Chinese laborers from entering the U.S. And I find that very, what? How is that possible? Because I know we use the Chinese as either slaves or indentured servants, as you called them the other day. Whatever the term, whatever they did, they definitely, there's more of them building the railroad than any other people. That's for sure.
They built this railroad on our back, their back.
On their backs, yeah. But there has been some discovery that they might have actually landed and settled somewhere in California, because there's like some archaeological discoveries of the past 10 years that have kind of sort of linked Chinese architecture. So I don't know how, maybe like foundational wise or whatever. There's some kind of like low, long wall that goes on forever.
Well, they weren't brought here like slaves to build the railroad. They came here and they.
No, I'm talking about before the railroad. I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know
there's
you are.
I'm talking about the whole thing about Christopher Columbus discovering this land. No, it's been since discovered Leif Erikson, and then no, it's been since discovered before him on the other coast. Maybe there are some Chinese who came over here.
Very possible, but
that's what I'm saying.
The point is, the railroad and the Chinese, that's only a part of their American history.
Oh, absolutely. I was only saying, no, because this is about Chinese laborers. And I'm just like, well, 1894, that's around the time we're building these railroads. So why would we prevent the majority of the people who are building this? That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. 1898, John Philip Holland achieved a successful test run for the first modern submarine off Staten Island, submerging for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Talk about professionalism, huh? But look at that thing. It's the first, modern successful submarine. Submerged, yeah. Most likely. Time. I wonder if they're all crew. Were they all in there? I mean, you need to have somewhere for an engine, gas.
Yeah, I doubt they're all crew, but they're all part of the crew.
Unless it's designed like the Hunley, I don't know how you can fit all these people in there, even shoulder to shoulder. I mean, unless they're all just in this one section, or maybe if you just this back section here for the engine and all that stuff, and then all this in the fronts. I don't know. I don't know how it was designed. 1901, at a show in Paris, 71 of Vincent van Gogh's paintings caused a sensation 11 years after his death. So that's when he really started, becoming popular. 1901 as well, Free Thinking Democratic League formed in Netherlands. That's concerning, that name. We're the Free Thinking Democratic League. You better free think like us, or you're a problem. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I wish there's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Could you cheer them on or say, whoa, back up?
Yeah, I want to know more about this. So, 1905, Albert Einstein finished his scientific paper detailing his quantum theory of light, a foundation of modern physics. Yeah. 1908, Canadian champion Tommy Burns knocked out Irish challenger Jem Roshi. Oh, an Irishman knocked out on St. Patrick's Day. Oh, you have the country on your back, their little shillelagh band.
The Canadians.
Yeah. Oh, he lost to the Canadians. Well, if anybody was going to beat that, on their home turf, it'd be you Canadians. So.
There you go.
Jim Roche in 1 minute 28 seconds of the first round at the Theatre Royal, Dublin, then the quickest world heavyweight boxing title fight. So not only did a non-Irishman knock out an Irishman on their day, but made a record about it.
Flattened him pretty quick.
1913, Uruguayan Air Force was founded. In 1913, Uruguay. Of all countries, Uruguay to have an Air Force in 1913. Yeah. That's surprising. Almost as surprising as when I first heard about Mexico having an Air Force. I mean, it makes sense, but it's not something you think about,
Not at all.
But it was just this. I was reading. It's funny. I was reading this meme about the Mexican Air Force UFO sighting or whatever, and then there was a comment attached to it. It's the thing that blows my mind is Mexico has an Air Force. So I'm it's not just me, It's
Well, I haven't thought of it until you brought it up right now.
See. 1917, the first exclusively women's bowling tournament began in St. Louis, Missouri. All right.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, if anybody knows their way around the ball, it has to be women, right?
Oh, man.
That joke went right into the gutter. 1919, Dutch steelworkers strike for 8-hour day and minimum wages. Okay. 21, Dr. Mary Stopes opened Britain's first birth control clinic in London. Camel's nose. The New York gangster Albert Anastasia, what an interesting last name, was convicted of murdering longshoreman George Torino. We also have sailors revolted in Kronstadt. Thousands die. Why did they revolt? What happened? Like, thousands of people don't just die. You know, like, something crazy happened. 1921, still, you know, this whole time we've been stuck in 21. This is a busy date. The Second Republic of Poland adopted the March Constitution, and Vladimir Lenin proclaimed the new economic policy to help the country recover from the Russian Civil War. 1 century ago, 1926, which, by the way, that reminds me, you missed a half a millennia ago earlier. 500 years.
Oh.
Yeah. 1926, Dutch Calvinists oust Reverend J.G. Giegelbergen over Genesis 3. So, obviously, some kind of disagreement involving religious beliefs. We also have Spain and Brazil prevented Germany joining the League of Nations. I mean, I can understand, like, you know, the animosity against Germany, but if you want to prevent Germany from doing German things, you gotta talk with the Germans, you know? So
yeah, I'll just throw something in there, and I'm sure it's totally irrelevant. I wonder if that plants the seed of the doom of that organization, and they go to what we have today.
That is, yeah, United Nations.
Yeah.
That is an interesting concept, because the entire point of the League of Nations was to prevent another outbreak of a world war, which inevitably everything just encouraged it.
Yeah.
Especially with how we treated Germany after it. Like, we basically, like, forced them to generate Hitler. Almost.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. 1927, U.S. government does not sign the League of Nations Disarmament Treaty. And very much like, you know, our initial activities with the United Nations, the League of Nations, the United States didn't want anything to do with it, because that was an organization of globalist elitists. The United States was a brand new thing, and, you know, still trying to keep its distance away from the powers that had taken control and corrupted the rest of the planet, essentially. But even we have fallen long ago. Thank you, Woodrow Wilson. Why am I looking up? Thank you, Woodrow Wilson. 1929, General Motors acquired German auto manufacturer Adam Opel. And that makes me wonder if they're affiliated with the Nazis too, because this is 1929, just before, no, 10 years before the outbreak, but this is during Nazi.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even heard of that car.
Yeah, well, Adam Opel was a manufacturer.
Yeah, no, I know.
And because
manufacturer of a car. I wonder if that was the Opel.
What's interesting is, like, a lot of companies have ties with Nazi Germany. Like, they still did business before and during, you know, the war and all that stuff. Like, it doesn't matter what the politics are, business still conducts. Like, it's really wild. And even the Bushes, like, what's his face, Prescott Bush, you know, George H.W. Bush's father. He had a direct hand in profiting off of Holocaust slave labor. And Bayer has a huge thing involving the Holocaust as well. Yeah. So, but that makes me, you know, General Motors, you know, like, this is 1929. Did they leave or did they stay when Nazism rose?
But after Pearl Harbor, they had to stop doing business.
Well, that was Japan, not Germany.
I know, but World War, we got into it in Europe and Japan. So I can't imagine it going on much further after that.
Well, there
had to cut ties.
I know I mean, like, with Coca-Cola, I know that they were involved with Nazi Germany. Like, you know, I don't know to what extent, but they stopped producing, you know, the Coca-Cola in Germany, but the Germans still wanted something, so that's when they came up with Fanta. Now, I'm not sure if that is on their own or if that's what Coca-Cola did to continue making a profit without damaging their image. But Fanta is a product of World War II, is a product of Nazi Germany. You know, because of the very same thing that you just brought up.
Yeah.
So, like, you know Fanta.
Not really, no. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, but I haven't heard of it.
It's a soda.
Yeah, I know. I
So,
got all of that.
yeah.
I just have never heard of it.
Yeah.
Is it still around today?
Oh yes, I've had
Oh.
it. Like
Oh,
well
okay.
before I knew this, But anyway, 1930, construction began on the Empire State Building, the world's first skyscraper with over 100 stories on Fifth Avenue in New York City. Look at that, June 26, 1930, July 7, 1930, 1930, just up and up and up.
1930, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't someone in Chicago build one a little bit taller then? They kind of had a war going on.
Oh yeah, the Chrysler Building.
Yeah, Chrysler.
Yeah, and near the end,
Someone
because
put an extension on, like a tower.
well,
or
like the
something.
Chrysler Building is actually like without the antenna, I think is taller than the Empire State's. But just at the end, yeah, you're right. Like they put up that giant spire thing.
Yeah.
So like right at the end is a giant fuck you, and then they took the highest because of that technicality. Now I'm going to turn off my mic here because I'm going to say a really horrible joke. Actually, I'm going to let you hear the punchline first. Who are the fastest readers?
That is horrible. That's the worst joke.
I hope nobody knows how to read lips.
Move on.
1932, German police raided Adolf Hitler's Nazi headquarters. 34, Austrian Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss, Italian Prime Minister Benito Mussolini, and Hungarian Prime Minister Gyula Gombos signed the Donau Pact, the Protocols of Rome, guaranteeing Austrian independence. And then didn't Germany like annex Austria? We spoke about that, right? It was like Ostranacht or whatever. Like when they we covered that like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Like Germany annexed Austria, like in
Well,
19
How many other things
something.
did?
Well, all of Europe, all of mainland Europe, really,
Yeah.
essentially. 1938, the Italian Air Force, in support of Francisco Franco, bombed Barcelona during the Spanish Civil War. That's another thing that a lot of people don't realize about the Spanish Civil War is the reason why the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, not only because of their technological advancements, but the skill of their pilots was so profound at the start of World War II, is because they had a lot of practice fighting with and for the Spanish on Francisco Franco's side, because Francisco Franco, supported Hitler, vice versa.
Yeah.
And then that's why they declared neutrality, because they had just finished their civil war just before the outbreak of World War II, but they didn't want to side, they didn't want to fight, his former ally and somebody he still supports, but they also didn't want to fight anybody, they just fought themselves. They had their own business to attend to.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Luftwaffe got a lot of experience fighting in the Spanish Civil War. So, 1938, the Italian Air Force. Wait, that's the Italian Air Force. So what is? Oh yeah. So yeah, I just covered that. So that's Italy. So I just spoke about Germany, but it sounds like right there Italy is doing the same thing.
Well, that was the first comment. Yeah, it was Italy.
Yeah. 1942, Belzec concentration camp opened with the transport of 30,000 Polish Jews from Lublin. The first Jews from the Lvov ghetto were gassed at the Belzec death camp in what is today eastern Poland. So is that's the same? No, those are two different articles. So I'm going to highlight them both though. 42 as well, U.S. General Douglas MacArthur arrived in Australia to become Supreme Commander. Now I didn't know about this. From the sound of that, it sounds like he was kind of like the Eisenhower of the West.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
Eisenhower was the Supreme Commander of all Europe.
Yeah.
Well, but like in the like in the Pacific, it was mainly U.S. and Japan. But there were British, there were Australians, and that's British, Canadians, and everything. Like Canada declared war against Japan before we did after Pearl Harbor. They declared it on the same day, the 7th, and then we waited like about 12 hours after that. But you have combined forces and all that stuff, so there has to be some kind of Supreme Commander.
Yeah, of the Pacific Front.
Yeah.
Pacific
So
Arena.
I never heard of that about MacArthur.
No, he was the guy.
Well, I knew he was the guy for us, but for the guy like an Eisenhower, because Eisenhower is more than just us. He was all of Europe.
Ah. Well, there wasn't, compared to Europe, there wasn't much else besides us. Now, there was, like, the Australians, that's probably what he's doing there.
Yeah.
And there were a few things, but it was minor players compared to.
Well, there were British
Europe.
and French interests over there. Like
And
French,
Canadians were here.
Yeah. Well, the Australians and the Canadians were under the British rule at the time, I believed, and they still are to some degree. I think Australia is fully independent, but to some degree, Canada still answers to the Crown to one point or another. Like, they are autonomous, but they still answer. So,
I don't know if they answer or recognize.
We've had this conversation many times before. We've come to the same answer. Like, I'm not going to look it up again.
No.
But no, there were British interests, colonies and everything, as well as French, Indochina, Vietnam, all that stuff over there. So there were European interests over there. So there were multiple countries to work together in conjunction towards a unified goal. So an Eisenhower-like position for the Pacific, I never considered, but must have been a thing. Not obviously as important as Eisenhower's,
Right.
but something of that position in the Pacific. And I never thought about that yet. But let's move on here. 1943, physician William J. Kolff performed the world's first hemodialysis using his artificial kidney machine. However, the treatment was unsuccessful and the patient died in the Netherlands.
Oops.
I'm not sure if this is the same patient, but this is an example of that.
Wow.
Now they're much smaller than that.
Yeah.
But,
much smaller.
But yeah, that's how it started. So. We also have 1944. Mount Vesuvius of Italy erupted after months of volcanic unrest, destroying several towns near the volcano. I hope everybody had evacuated.
Yeah. What year was that again?
44.
Okay.
45. The Ludendorff Bridge in Remagen, Germany, collapsed 10 days after its capture. Yikes. 1947. English historian Arnold Toynbee appeared on the front cover of Time magazine. I just gotta look that up really quick because neither have I, but as a historian, it's really nice to fellow historians, get recognition they deserve every now and then. Why am I hearing music? Oh, that's the F word. Okay.
The what?
The F word video that I was looking up.
Oh.
It started playing by itself. 1948, Belgium, France, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom signed the Treaty of Brussels, a precursor to the North Atlantic Treaty, establishing NATO. And this was removed from primary source for whatever reason.
That's pretty important.
Yeah, well, maybe they had the calendar date wrong. Maybe it was like, May 7th, or May 17th, not March 17th. Maybe they got their M months mixed up, like I sometimes do. So, 1950, element 98, Californium was announced. Researchers at the University of California in Berkeley announced the creation of element 98, which they named Californium. We're out here just inventing elements now. This is ungodly. 1953, Bill Veeck said he will sell his 80% of St. Louis Browns for... Now, this raised my eyebrow. This was 53, correct? I'm trying to find it. Right there. For $2,475 M. So for $2 billion? Is that what he's saying?
No. Nothing was worth that. Especially football.
Yeah, so what does this mean, though? Like, is that supposed to be $2,475,000?
I don't know.
Because it's $2,475 M. So I don't know how to read that. It's either almost $2.5 billion, or it's supposed to be some weird way to say million, but why not just say 2.475 million? I don't know. Well, actually, no, they use commas as decimal points in Britain.
I can't imagine being worth $2.5 million back then. What was it? What year was it again?
53.
Yeah.
But 80% of St. Louis Browns. I don't know. Would that be marks? Well, no, the dollar sign's there. That's confusing. What else do we got here? 1955, after Maurice Richards was suspended for the remainder of the season, riots broke out in Montreal. 37 people were injured and over 100 were arrested. The following morning, Richard went on the radio to ask citizens to stop vandalizing the city. Yeah, dude, you gotta really, watch yourself. Like, when you are idolized like that, every move you make, has an effect, and a lot of people just cannot handle it. 1956, 8th Emmy Awards. The Ed Sullivan Show, the Phil Silvers Show, and Phil Silvers and Lucille Ball won. Oh, Lucille Ball, that's Lucy, right? I Love Lucy? Okay.
Well, she had a number of shows. I don't know what. Yeah, 57?
58. 56.
Yeah, it has to be I Love Lucy show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's his name?
The Ed Sullivan Show?
Ed Sullivan?
Never heard of Phil Silvers, though.
Oh, I did.
Huh.
Sergeant... Sergeant Bilko was him. In that.
Roger Wilco or whatever?
Sergeant Bilko.
Yeah. Like, is that what they said? They go the same? Roger Wilco or whatever?
No, I don't know what Roger wrote. But Steve Bilko, what's the name?
Phil Silvers?
Phil Silvers was Sergeant Bilko in that show.
All right. 1957, Dutch ban on Sunday driving was lifted. Probably because some kind of oil something or whatever. 57 as well, presidential plane crashed on Mount Manuel in Cebu, Philippines, killing 25, including Filipino President Ramon Magsaysay. That's not good. 58, the U.S. Navy launched Vanguard 1 into orbit. This was the second U.S. launch or whatever this is, to measure the Earth shape. This is also the first satellite to achieve a long-term orbit. Cool. 59, Australia and the USSR restored diplomatic relations. That's interesting. 59 as well, U.S. nuclear submarine, the USS Skate, became the first submarine to surface at the North Pole. So I guess it was an ice skate, as opposed to a roller. So it's called the Skate, coming up in the ice. 1960, one of the first French New Wave films, Breathless, directed by Jean-Luc Godard, starring Jean-Paul Belmondo and Jean Seberg, a lot of Jeans going on there, was released in France. Makes you wonder, though, what was the first, of the French New Wave films, if there is a first, or if they all just kind of came out ambiguously, through time. 1960, U.S. President Eisenhower formed anti-Castro exile army under the CIA. He signed the National Security Council Directive on the anti-Cuban covert operation action program that will ultimately lead to the Bay of Pigs invasion. Oh, Eisenhower, come on, dude. That's, 2 days now and two strikes. Yesterday he was supporting the use of nuclear weapons in war, and now he's setting up the Bay of Pigs. Come on, dude.
I thought he was out of office in 1960. Didn't Kennedy come into office in 1960? Maybe it was 61. He elected in 60 and 61 he came in.
Yeah. 1961, New York City District Attorney arrested professional gamblers who implicated Seton Hall players. South Africa left British Commonwealth. And Jaguar head William Lyons debuted the first E-Type model at the Geneva International Motor Show, creating a sensation. Ooh, All right. 1963, eruptions of Mount Aung in Bali killed 1,900 Balinese. The other source says 1,100, so we have a 800 people discrepancy there for the death count. 66, South Africa's government banned defense and aid fund. That doesn't sound intelligent there. 66 as well, a U.S. submarine located a missing hydrogen bomb on the Mediterranean seafloor. That's good. Yeah. Right here we have a lost H-bomb lay off Spain's coast for 80 days in 1966. After a collision, a U.S. bomber dropped 4 nukes, one sinking into the Mediterranean. It was finally found by a U.S. Navy submarine following a tip from local fishermen.
But then what'd they do about it? Just leave it down there?
Well, no, that picture, they had it up, so they somehow got it. So, but yeah, I think that we covered that, or we will cover that.
I remember something about it. Yeah.
Well, there's like 30 something broken arrow occurrences.
Oh yeah.
And some of them, we've covered some of them. So, 67, British harpist Sheila Broomberg played with the string section for the Sgt. Pepper track "She's Leaving Home" and became the first female to perform on the Beatles recording. That took up a while. 68, two-tiered gold price negotiated in Washington, D.C. by U.S. and 6 European nations. What does that mean, two-tiered gold price?
I'm not sure. It looks like there was 2 competing markets.
1968, by the way, if anybody wants to look that up, let us know in the comments section, what this two-tiered gold price means. We got to keep going. We have 16 minutes till the hour, and we're only in 1968. Bee Gees made their U.S. debut their U.S. TV debut on the Ed Sullivan Show, performing "To Love Somebody" and "Words." Well, I hope they performed "Words." I mean, you need to use words to sing, right? I mean, as a result of nerve gas testing by the U.S. Army Chemical Corps in Skull Valley, Utah, over 6,000 sheep are found dead. We covered that yesterday.
Yes, we
did. Or something
did.
Like that, yeah. 69, Golda Meir became Israel's 4th prime minister and first and only female to hold the office.
Yeah.
Why don't they have another female head of state?
Well, maybe they haven't found a good enough woman. That's not a good way to say it.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like Israel is sexist and problematic. Maybe.
How many women presidents do we have? None.
Well, I mean, if you don't count Brandon or Woodrow, like, then none. So, because those two are a couple of bitches.
Although, what's her name did run the country for a while. His wife, the first lady.
Hillary Clinton?
No,
Clinton?
no.
Oh, Michael Obama.
No. Who was it that was incapacitated back there? Her name's right on my tip of my tongue.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I can't think of it. Okay, move on.
Anyway, 1978, U.S. cast their first UN Security Council veto, support England. Are they doing it in support of England or against the support of England? Like, it's not very telling.
They don't really say, do they?
Just says support England. I don't want to support England. England sucks. You know, and this source also, by the way, I think is British because they use like the OU, spelling, and we did that, like 2.4 something million. I think that they use commas for decimals. So like how we use 2 point something something.
Yeah.
Their point is a comma.
Oh.
So I think this is actually they're trying to subliminally propagate me with their propaganda to support their nation that's incredibly woke and being taken over by awful things. 73, Queen Elizabeth II opened the new London Bridge. The previous one having been sold, somebody thinking that it was the Tower Bridge,
yes.
from the
over
song
here they bought it.
London Bridge, yeah,
In Arizona.
and now it's over in Arizona, yeah. Didn't we cross it?
No.
Like
We haven't been in that town.
huh? I really wanted to I forgot almost instantly, but like now that I remember on our way back, because remember we went over there several years ago.
Yeah.
And went to Tombstone and all that stuff.
Yeah.
On the way back, I wanted to go out of our way and cross that bridge, and we never did.
Well, it's up north of Fairmount.
Oh.
It's up towards the Nevada.
Oh, okay.
Nevada, Arizona, somewhere.
I thought it was farther south. I don't know.
No, it's up farther north.
You know what? I'm going to look this up here. Where is London Bridge located, Arizona? London Bridge. Lake Havasu.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, you should have mapped it.
Well, you said there you go, so
Yeah.
I presume you're right. So I'm just gonna it is up north. I don't know where Havasu is, and we got to keep going.
Yeah.
73, Shah of Iran Mohammad Reza Pahlavi and a consortium of Western firms led by British Petroleum agreed to the formal nationalization of Iran's oil industry in return for an assured 20-year supply of Iranian oil. St. Patrick's Day in 1973, marchers carried 14 coffins commemorating Bloody Sunday. We also have the Pulitzer Prize-winning photograph Burst of Joy was taken depicting a former prisoner of war being reunited with his family, which came to symbolize the end of the United States' involvement in the Vietnam War. The fall of Saigon. That's the photo right there.
Oh, okay.
According to... there's different types of photos, but that one was actually labeled the Burst of Joy, so I presume that was correct. 76, boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter was retired in the U.S. after being convicted of murder in 1967. Sentence was upheld but overturned in 1985. Okay, well, I mean, retired is the...
That's a weird way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, yes. 77, Australia won cricket century test by 45
Just
runs.
skip it.
Same result as 1877. No, same result as 1877. So they repeated it 100 years later, completing the centenary test by 45 runs. That's kind of crazy. That's wild.
Yeah.
78, Amoco Cadiz tanker spilled 1.6 million gallons of oil off French coast. We spoke about that yesterday, and you're asking how much is that in comparison to Exxon Valdez.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But 78 as well, Reds donned green uniforms for St. Patrick's Day. I got my green on. You had yours, so, you're technically passed. 79, nope. 78, nope. 85, serial killer Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, committed the first two murders in his Los Angeles murder spree. And this was removed from primary source for some reason, so maybe this is the incorrect date, or maybe they're trying to erase him for whatever reason. 88, Iran said Iraq used poison gas. Well, we covered that yesterday. We also have the Eritrean War of Independence. The Nadu Command, an Ethiopian army corps in Eritrea, was attacked on 3 sides by military units of the Eritrean People's Liberation Front in the opening action of the Battle of Alphabet. This was also removed from primary source. We have a Colombian Boeing 727 jetliner, Aviacia Flight 410, crashed into a mountainside near the Venezuelan border, killing 143. 89, Dorothy Kudisi was the first female Grand Marshal of St. Patrick's Day Parade. Cool. Now, 1991, 9 of 15 Soviet representatives, I suppose, officially approved a new Union treaty. Union of what?
Yeah.
Like, is this the fall of the Soviet Union, or is this like, an attempted continuation? It's 91, so it's near the end, if not at it. So we also have Irish homosexuals marched in St. Patrick's Day Parade. We covered this yesterday, and once again, instead of saying what they said, which is gays and lesbians. Why don't we unify people instead of with all the separation that the left loves to use? Let's just call them homosexuals. And since for whatever reason the term queer is back, back in my day, which wasn't that long ago, that was a derogatory term.
Oh, big time.
But now it's in their freaking alphabet mafia title, so I guess it's back. So why don't we just start calling them queers again as one unified term? Hey, if you call it problematic, we're unifying you with all of us. If anybody's being problematic, leftists, it's you for trying to use segregationalist mentalities. Checkmate. 1991, New Jersey raised turnpike tolls 70%. Holy cats, man. That's expensive.
Over that twice a day, you're going to feel that pinch.
Yeah, well, that's when I don't know.
Going back and forth to work.
Yeah, that's going to cause a huge upset. 92, Islamic Jihad car bombing of Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires, Argentina, killed 29 and also injured an additional 242. So wow, that stuff is happening, all the way out in Argentina. It's crazy. 92, South African President F.W. de Klerk won a white-only referendum. South African referendum of white voters on an end to apartheid. Over 2/3 voted for an end to the system. And it was passed 68.7% to 31.2%. To end apartheid. Good. All right. Yeah. So this is the good guy, not P.W. Botha. This is the good guy. Okay. So I keep getting because F.W. de Klerk and P.W. Botha, they're both 2 old white balding males with initials for the first 2 letters of their name. I can't help it.
That's a toughie, yeah.
And if I did that with any other color, I'd be accused of racism. Isn't that funny? I'm getting my white people confused. Give me a break. 94, it was announced that there is no smoking in Cleveland Indians' new ballpark. Okay. 95, British pound hit 2.4545 to the Dutch guilder. This is their record. What's with the Dutch guilder? Why is this a thing? This is so weird. 95, U.S. approved the first chickenpox vaccine, Varivax, by American company. 96 as well. Did you ever vaccinate me for chickenpox? Or did I ever get them?
I'm almost certain you would have had to go to school.
Yeah. Well, good, because I'm sure that, because did I ever have chickenpox? Because I back when I was a kid, the standard thing was for parents to intentionally get their kids sick with chickenpox to get it done and over with.
I can't remember if you had them or not, to tell you the truth. You probably did.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. I just really hope I'm not vaccinated. I don't need any more inoculations. 96. I'm autistic enough. Thank you. 96. ICC's Men's Cricket ODI World Cup. Gaddafi Stadium.
Wow.
Lahore, Pakistan.
Wow.
Okay, well, Pakistan.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka upsetted Australia by 7 wickets for their first title. Player of the match was Aravinda de Silva of SL. 107 no, 124, 3 out of 42, and 2 catches. Okay. It's 97. CNN began Spanish broadcasts. In the year 2000, the 800-plus deaths of members of the Ugandan cult movement for the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God was considered to be a mass murder and suicide orchestrated by leaders of the cult. It says 530 members of the Ugandan cult movement for the restoration, yada, yada, yada. Elsewhere, another 248 members were later found dead. So the primary source had been edited for whatever reason. And those are 2 different, stories. So I don't know why they're changing it. That's weird. 2002, WrestleMania 18, In the Sky Dome, Toronto, Ontario, 68,237 in attendance. Triple H beat Chris Jericho for the undisputed WWF Heavyweight title. 2003, the British Cabinet Minister Robin Cook resigned over government plans for the war of Iraq. The 2003 invasion of Iraq. Primary source was edited. And yeah, pretty much the story there. 2004, unrest in Kosovo resulted in more than 22 killed, 200 wounded, and the destruction of 35 Serb Orthodox shrines in Kosovo and 2 mosques in Belgrade and Nis. Wow, that's awful. Like, I don't care who you are, what you believe in. I believe in everyone's right to do whatever they want as long as it's not infringing on or hurting on anybody or anything, you know?
Yeah.
So, but when I'm not a Muslim, I'm not a Jew, I'm not a Christian, I'm an omnist. I believe in everything to a certain extent. So I'm not, devoted to any one thing. But even so, when I hear about, a mosque, a synagogue, a church, a temple, whatever, getting harmed or destroyed, it really, really makes me sad. 2008, Governor Elliot Spitzer of New York resigned after scandal involving a high-end prostitute. David Patterson became acting governor.
Whoops.
Yikes. And we also have the popular game the popular online game for children, Fantage, was launched. I never heard of it. But by 2008, I was already 3 years out of high school.
You were
so,
too old.
yeah, 2012, Bolton Wanderer footballer Fabrice Mumbaba collapsed and was rushed to a hospital during a live football match against Tottenham Hotspur. I wonder what vaccinations he had. I mean, this was 2012, so it wasn't against the Kung Flu yet. So, but something's going on. Pope Francis in 2013 delivered his first Angelus prayer and blessing. All right. Stacey Lewis won the R.R. Donnelly LPGA Founders Cup and became the #1 ranked woman golfer in the world.
Yeah.
All right. I was trying to do a golf clap, and I instead started doing a slow clap because my brain is dumb. 2013, I'm going to give her a golf clap because I can. Where is it? There we go. Oh. Stacey Lewis, we got her. 2013, 2014, Sia released her single Chandelier with a music video featuring Maddie Ziegler. Don't know who that is. Chandelier, it's an okay song. I liked it.
Never heard of it.
It's all right. We also have the Republic of Crimea was declared. All right. 2015, Kraft recalled 6.5 million boxes of its iconic macaroni and cheese in the U.S., Puerto Rico, and some Caribbean and South American countries due to potential metal contamination. This was added to primary source. So, just don't eat name brands out there, people. Like, it's not good for you. Look into GMOs, look into Monsanto, look into Bill Gates, look into the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Zika virus, all that stuff. It's a horror story of an iceberg out there. Just look into it. 2016, Brazilian federal judge blocks swearing in of Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva as Chief of Staff to President Dilma Rousseff as part of the car wash controversy.
What country is that?
Brazil.
Oh.
Brazilian federal judge.
Okay.
So, I wonder what this car wash controversy is. So, we also have Rojava conflict at a conference in Rimelen. The Movement for a Democratic Society declared the establishment of the Democratic Federation of Northern Syria. I'm just going to look up this car wash controversy really quick. Oh yeah, we haven't gotten to these yet. Let's see here. I just want to know. The car wash. Okay, I'm not getting any wiki thing. Bikini car wash controversy overshadows... So this requires some research. So anybody watching, please let us know in the comment section. Become part of the story, not just watching it. 2017 live action remake of The Beauty and the Beast, directed by Bill Condon and starring Emma Watson, opened. Remember we spoke yesterday or whatever about the gay scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. For whatever reason, not only are they completely stripped of any sense of originality, not that they had any to begin with, because everything Disney has done is either theft or purchased. But they threw in a homosexual scene. They threw in a queer scene, into that movie for no reason. It wasn't in the original, so it was just to push more of this, homosexual propaganda, indoctrinate the children, and get them started young. Because at the end of the day, like, they're not making any new children themselves, so they can't breed So they got to recruit. Am I wrong? Like, 2018, Africa's only female head of state, Mauritanian President Antine Guev Fakim, confirmed she was resigning amid an expenses scandal. Okay.
What scandal?
Expenses.
Oh,
so,
okay.
she found a credit card,
A government credit card.
Yeah, off the people. Gee. No.
Other people.
And this is a real shame because this is just another example. Because especially during these times, people are trying so hard to get women to be in positions of power, and they don't really look for people with credentials. They're just looking for check marks. And at the end of the day, they're causing more damage. They're not giving it. It's not even causing more harm than good. They're not causing any good. They're causing only harm by putting in people unqualified for these positions, and then just leaving the rest of the world with a bad taste in their mouth, so to speak, about ever doing it again. It's unfair to women, really. So, yeah. 2019, Facebook removed 1.5 million videos of the Christchurch mosque shootings in first 24 hours after the attack, although only 1.2 million were blocked at upload. And this was all part of, they didn't want anything to spread any Islamophobia.
What shooting was that again?
It was some kind of Christchurch mosque shootings.
Oh, okay, Christchurch.
Now it's a mosque shooting,
Yeah.
so they're shooting at Islamists, but I'm wondering was it a Jew shooting at them? Was it a Christian? Was it a different Muslim? Is it like a Sunni versus a Shiite thing? That's what I was wondering. He live streamed the first shooting on Facebook, making his first successfully live streamed far right terror attack. Okay, well, why is it far right? I don't know. This is going to require a lot more digging, so please let us know in the underbar of the description. I'm going to add this in the underbar here, just to give you some kind of stepping stone if you want. Christchurch situation. I don't want to have the word shooting, in my, freaking description, so, I'm going to have to use a different word. Anyway, what else do we got here? 2019 as well. Zimbabwe declared a state of emergency after Cyclone Idai tore through eastern Zimbabwe, killing at least 259.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
2020, Chad began repaying a $100 million debt. And actually, I think I might have overlooked this, but this is... Did I talk about the bones of a warrior king or something at all? Okay, well, if I didn't, these were the bones or whatever, they were discovered. I swear I thought I did. I guess not. Or I guess it might be coming up. I'm not sure. But this is pertaining to this here. Where was it? Chad? Nope, not that one. Not that one. Here we go. Began repaying a $100 million debt to Angola with cattle as more than 1,000 cows arrived in Luanda. So, $100 million. Good luck.
Paying them with cattle.
Yeah. 2020, European Union announced a 30-day ban on entering its 26 countries for almost all travelers as it struggled to contain Kung Flu. Golden Raspberry Film Awards, the Razzies, and musical Cats won 6 awards, including Worst Film. I wonder if they still feel jellicle about that. No. Funnily enough, I've never seen that movie. I just know the term. 2022, Claude Giroux, NHL Philadelphia Flyers' longest-serving captain, became only the second player in franchise history to play 1,000th game for the team, joining Bobby Clark. And Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari apologized for recent fuel shortages and power outages, including the failure of the national electricity grid and an increase in adulterated fuel? Am I reading that right? Adulterated fuel. How do you adulterate fuel? What is it? Am I stupid?
No, that's not a word.
Like, did the
word,
fuel?
But not for fuel.
Did the fuel get molested? What happened? 2024.
Maybe it's decaffeinated fuel.
I don't know. Well, then it's just tired. No. Actually, no. It would be exhausted. Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids' TV documentary in 2024, detailing the toxic nature of some Nick shows. I'm not going to say the whole word, because this is wild. You remember I used to watch, and please don't say the word either, but you know the TV channel Nick,
Yeah.
The whole word in Latin means I don't care about God.
You're kidding.
No. So they're teaching children to speak in Latin which is the language of the devil. You know, like whenever you see like possessions or whatever,
that's what that means.
that's what that means. They were teaching children. That's how evil this Hollywood shit is. They were teaching children to chant in Latin. They don't care about God, and I was one of them. No wonder I feel like so empty and like friggin' the way I do. It's crazy. Like so thank goodness though I know now and I know better. Like, that just goes to show. Like I'm not trying to preach anything, but the whole term "forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." Well, stuff like that. I knew not what I did. Anyway, this Quiet on Set, the Dark Side of Kids TV documentary detailing the toxic nature of some Nick shows, especially under Dan Schneider during the 90s and early 2000s premieres. Do you know anything about this guy, Dan Schneider?
Never heard of him.
He was in charge of a lot of children's shows, and apparently he had a foot fetish, and he worked it into the script. And every chance he could, they had zoomed in of the kid's feet barefoot, just part of the show, part of the episode or whatever. The man was sick. So no wonder they had children chanting that shit. Good Lord. 2024, after suppressing and murdering opponents, President Vladimir Putin claimed a post-Soviet record election victory with 87.8% of the vote. The 6-year term will make him Russia's longest-serving leader in over 200 years. And speaking about, current world leaders with a lot of blood on their hands, Mexico, that as it's become apparent, their president is a cartel stooge. She, during her campaign...
I'm not sure about that.
Well, she's not working against them, that's for sure. She's part of the evil. You remember during, that whole election season, it's 35, 40 people, other presidential candidates were assassinated in that 1 year span or whatever it was during that election period?
I guess I just don't follow them close enough.
Well, she has a lot of blood on her hands because she killed, and I have no evidence saying that she did, but practically every single one of her opponents wound up dead. And she also has a rather eyebrow-raising heritage and family history. So those out there, look her up, look up her past, look up her family's history. Puzzle pieces start falling into place. And last but not least, 2024, Rio de Janeiro posted a record heat index of 62.3 Celsius, 144.1 Fahrenheit. Ooh. 144 fucking degrees.
That doesn't seem possible.
Taking into account humidity, highest in Brazil in a decade, actual temperature 42 Celsius. Okay, so they were taking into account. Yeah, okay, so what it feels like. Okay, that's still really hot.
Yeah, it's going to be hot.
Yeah. Now I have one more article. It might be interesting, but do you want to just one more?
That was a lousy setup. No!
2024 WPL Cricket Final, RNJ Lee Stadium, New Delhi. I'm going to end it there. Anyway, that shall conclude the show for the day. I just had to. Once again, please check the underbar in the description for any links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis, so we can only bring you a portion from two sources. Happy St. Patrick's Day out there to all y'all. For all of you and all of us, we stream every day at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. I am A.O. Xander.
Golden Loon.
And you are you. Don't forget to look right and left at every intersection and celebrate responsibly. Okay, I'm looking at you, Josh. How funny would it be if some guy named Josh out there is just 5 handles in with the plan to go out to the store and buy a new one, and I just saved a life. I don't know. Anyway, until then, until you catch us next time, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!